Hi guys, so I'm back. I know it's been so long since I've actually done a video upload. I've just been busy with school and work. You understand, hopefully. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the theme for this book review is sci-fi books. Now, I was never a big sci-fi fan. Never. I was always straight fantasy. And then my mom had me read The Hunger Games, and then that just spiraled into like all these other sci-fi books that I have fallen truly in love with. So, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the books because they're on my Nook, but I will show you them on my Nook. Hopefully you can see them. So the first one I'm going to do is Matched. It's the green one right there. And that one is by Condie, and it's a trilogy. And it's about it's in place in the future, and in society, people choose everything for you: where you live, who you marry, when you have kids, how many kids you have, what job you do, and everything. It's all done by statistics. And the main character, she is going to a match banquet, what happens when you're a teenager, and basically you meet the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. She goes, and turns out her match is her friend Xander, who, unbeknownst to her, is truly in love with her. So at the end of the match banquet, they get a little micro card with all like basic information about their match and everything. So she goes home, plugs it in, and she knows everything, and then the screen goes weird, and she sees someone else's face. And it's not Xander's. It's Kai Markham. And that's what starts the whole series. Like, she starts falling for Kai when she's supposed to be Xander, and it's against the law to be with Kai because he's an anomaly, which means like he's not really supposed to be in society. So it's very interesting. It's a good read. Unfortunately, I can't show you the thickness since it's on my Nook, but I believe it is, let's see, 251 pages. That's like including everything, like acknowledgments and everything. But it's a really good book, very good read. I absolutely loved it. I read it when I was in Europe over the summer, and I just could not put these books down. And it's, some people might say it's like Twilight since there's like a love triangle, but it's not really. I mean, Bella was very needy and kind of stupid, and in this one, the main character, she's smart, she's resourceful. So this is nothing like Twilight, for those of you who might be thinking that. So, okay, the next book I have for you, I'm going to review, is Under the Never Sky, right there. Let's see, Casey. Yep. Okay, that one is by, let's see, let me just go, next page one. Okay, cover. Okay, here goes the cover. It's by Veronica Rossi. Here's the cover. There we go. And this one also, again, takes place in the future. The future, the main character, she lives in pods, kind of. And they wear these eye patches in the future over their left eye. And what happens is you go to Reverie. It's like this make-believe place where you can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You can fly, you can swim under water and breathe and everything. It's really cool. And then one day she's banished from her home, her pod, whatever. She's banished from it, and she meets this guy who is a savage, who she's heard stories about, who kill for fun and who just hate people like her. And unfortunately for both of them, they have to work together because her people took his nephew, who he protects as a father. And her whole thing is she wants to get her name cleared and go back because she misses her home and everything. The whole story is about their adventure together. And yes, they do fall in love. I mean, it's kind of a given. But it's the first book in the series. The second one just came out, and that one, I have to say, was extremely excellent. It was very well written, a good gripping storyline, and like I said, they go back and forth between her point of view and the guy's point of view. It goes back and forth. So I do think it's something either guys or girls could enjoy. It's something everyone could find something they like in. And that's all I really gotta say. It's 267 pages, so a good thick read. If it's a good read, basically, not super thick. But it is very good. When I was reading it, I would be at work just waiting for the kids to come up, be like, because I work at a daycare, I'd be like, okay, don't come in yet. I'm still reading this book. But I loved it. It was one of the best books I've ever read. Let's see. Next one I have is Starters. This one you might have heard about. I don't know. I know they mentioned it on the radio once. This is by Lisa Price. The cover looks like that. And it's about, again, it's in the future, as they all are. And what happens is a war broke out, a spores war. And in the U.S., people between, like, the people who are either, like, the ages, I think, of, like, I don't remember what the age was, but people who basically were around 30 to 60, I think, died. Or maybe it was like 2060, maybe 2060, something like that. So only really young people, like, young teens and tweens and old people survived. Everyone else is dead. And most young people are poor. So they steal for a living, they fight for their food and everything, and the elderly are really rich. And there's this thing called, there's this place called Prime Destinations, and what you can do is you can lend your body to an older person, and they give you a fair amount of money, and they'll like, after 3 times, I think you kind of can go off on your own, but you do 3 times. And so this girl Callie, she has to take care of her younger brother who is kind of sick, and she has to because her parents died in the Spores War, so she thought. And so she lends her body to Prime Destinations, which she absolutely hates. What they do is they put a microchip in the back of your head, and they knock you out after they make you all pretty much flawless. And then something goes wrong, and she wakes up while her renter is supposed to be in charge. And she finds out the horrible truth about Prime Destinations and the guy who runs it, called the Old Man. And this is while she's falling for the, I think, governor's son, who is wealthy. I mean, I shouldn't say all young people are poor. If you're young and you're related to a really powerful elderly person, you're rich. Basically, they take care of you. So that's what happens. She falls for him, and she has to find a way to kind of save her brother, save herself, and try and bring down Prime Destinations. And starters is what they call the young kids starters. They call the older people enders. So there's the second book coming out, I think it might be last, it's called Enders, which I'm very excited about. This book has 240 pages. Definitely a good read. Most definitely. If you like the Hunger Games, you're gonna love this one. Absolutely love it. I have to say, it was phenomenal. That was like, I think, one of the few books I've read in a very long time where I'd be up late, like, I can't sleep, I have to read this book, I can't put it down. So very good read. I highly recommend it if you like the Hunger Games. Same with Matched. I think if you like the Hunger Games, you'll like Matched. But that's just me. But starters, excellent book. Let's see, what else do I have? I think I have one more. I don't know if I do. No, that's it. Okay, so I have one more sci-fi book. This one is, I do have in book form. It's called Unwind by Neal Shusterman. Looks like this. I don't know when this book came out, but it's fairly thick. It's a good thickness, I'd say. And it takes place in the future, and what happens is there was a war between pro-life and pro-choice people, and they came to an agreement. From the time a child is born until they're 13, they cannot be touched. But between 13 and 18, they can be unwound, which means they live in a divided state. Your eyeball goes to one person who needs it, and then your hand goes to another person. So they live in a divided state. And so parents can have their choice to have their kid unwound. It takes place from like 3 different perspectives. We have Connor, who's kind of like, I think most of us, hard to deal with. Parents get frustrated with us, but they get too frustrated that we're just going to wind him. We don't want to deal with him anymore. Then we have Risa, who's an orphan, and who's been chosen to be unwound because the war doesn't have any more room for her. And then there's Lev. His religion believes that's a gift to be unwound. You're giving yourself for the greater use of God or something. So the whole story, it's one book, I hate to say, but oh my gosh, wow, I loved it. I mean, it was just a great book. They all come together to try to be unwound. Well, Lev wants to be unwound because he believes it's right, but Risa and Connor eventually convince him it's a really bad idea, that they're convinced they're killing you. And the question is kind of answered in the end. You'll have to read that part to figure that part out, but it is kind of given away in the end that maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you'll have to read the book, like I said, but it was very good. Definitely, if you want something sci-fi-y, if you like the Hunger Games or Divergent or something, this would be a good book for you to read. I'm not saying it's like it, but I'm just saying that it's definitely up there in, like, really good sci-fi story. Very original, too. Of course, as I'm reading, I'm like, why would pro-choice people, or pro-life people agree to this kind of thing? But it's very good. It's very good. I loved it. My mom read it for her book club, and she introduced the book to me, so naturally I read it too, and it was so good. Yeah, those are the books I have for you. Please let me know if you've read any of them and what you or if you're gonna read any of them, what you think of them, whether you liked them, you hate them. Let me know. And in the description box below, I will have all the books and all the authors and everything. So yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Bye.